Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond is a documentary that's just been released on Netflix about the making of the movie Man on the Moon, the biopic film about the legendary comedian Andy Kaufman, and the role that Jim Carrey played. And it's a fascinating documentary. There was rumours that there were, all the way through the production of the movie, that Jim Carrey never broke character. Proper method acting. He always wanted to be referred to as Andy or the alter ego Tony Clifton. And he never broke character, and I've seen the movie. I once owned the movie on DVD. I don't own it anymore. I never upgraded to Blu-ray if you can get it on Blu-ray. And there was never any behind-the-scenes footage on the discs. And apparently the movie studio, I think it was Universal, wouldn't allow any other behind-the-scenes footage to be shown because they didn't want Jim Carrey to be seen as an arsehole, which he mentions in this documentary, because of the way he acted towards people, the utter madness, basically. But yeah, it's just a fascinating insight into the actor's mind. And it could also be like, the title of the film could also be The Destruction of Jim Carrey's Career. Because since Man on the Moon, he's not really done many films since, to be honest. He's had the odd film here and there. Kick-Ass 2, that was probably the best film he's done since Man on the Moon. Mr. Popper's Penguins, another one, that wasn't really good. But yeah, since Man on the Moon, he's not really done much, to be honest, and it's kind of taken a back seat. And it kind of explains during this documentary that, he kind of reevaluated his life and took stock of everything after what he'd gone through in the making of this movie. It's taken its toll on him, basically, mentally. But yeah, like I keep saying, it's a fascinating documentary. You're just watching it and you're just like, well, I just couldn't take my eyes off, I was just like interested all the way through. Just like, the insight that Jim Carrey, he's the only person that's been interviewed. Usually these documentaries, they usually like interviewing a few people, and when I started watching it, I expected to see like Paul Giamatti and Danny DeVito maybe showing up and getting interviewed, now, modern times, but the only person getting interviewed is Jim Carrey, and in a way, I think that's better, to be honest, because I just wanted his insight into why he chose to go this route, where he just like totally just is all in, basically. And it's just really, really interesting. I highly recommend this documentary. Netflix is producing some quality stuff, to be honest, and this is another quality documentary film. To be honest, it should have been released at cinemas, but it's on Netflix, so it's not. But yeah, it's just, I can understand why the studio didn't want this footage to be shown, especially around the time of the movie coming out, because it in some ways it does put Jim Carrey in a bad light, because there's like, in Andy Kaufman's real past, he used to have this like feud with a wrestler called Jerry Lawler where they'd wrestle, and then he got injured and they ended up on a David Letterman talk show and he slapped him, and there was meant to be this big feud, but while you're watching the film Man on the Moon, it turns out that it was all fabricated. Well, during this documentary, behind the scenes, with Jim Carrey acting out, just being like method and totally acting like Andy Kaufman behind the scenes, he's like totally harassing this, because Jerry Lawler's back playing himself, and he's totally harassing Jerry Lawler. He even at one point spits in his face, and you like watching it and it's like, is this fabricated or is this like real? And it seems to be real. And then they reenact the scene on the David Letterman show, and he does actually properly slap Jim Carrey, and you can tell that there was some sort of like simmering hatred between them both. I don't know, I can't remember if it actually says if it got better after a while, but yeah, if I highly recommend this documentary if you're fascinated, if you're actually, if you have any interest into what goes through an actor's mind when they're preparing for a role and you know, playing this role and how they act and, you know, think during the production of a film. This is a brilliant documentary to watch. I've always liked Jim Carrey. I've been a big fan of Jim Carrey ever since he first burst onto the scene in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And it does show some clips from his films as well, which is quite nice. It's interspersed here and there. But yeah, it's a fascinating documentary to a decent film. And I wouldn't say the film Man on the Moon itself is, you know, a masterpiece. It is a good film. But I wouldn't class it as one of Jim Carrey's best films. But this documentary is brilliant, and it's like the real drama was behind the scenes, and I'm finally glad that this footage is out there for people to see. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a rating like I do most films, because it's, you know, it's a documentary film, and I'm gonna give it A plus. Yeah, this is a brilliant film. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And yeah, like I said, Netflix are producing some quality things. They've got there's some more quality, well, I don't know if they're quality, but there's some more like movies what they've made that I plan on watching and plan on reviewing in the near future. So look forward to doing them. So yeah, let me know down below, guys, what do you think of this documentary movie? Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on Jim Carrey's actions during the thing? You know, what he got up to. Yeah, write in my comment section. Like and share my channel, guys. And remember, stay heroic.